In the heart of Benin City, where the red earth kisses every footstep and the afternoon sun paints the roofs gold, lived Isoken and Osaro, a young couple deeply in love, but secretly burdened. They had been married for 3 years. The first year was blissful laughter, love, dreams. But the second year turned into quiet worry, and the third became a battlefield of tears, tension, and ticking clocks. They had tried and tried again, yet no child. Isoken, in her late 20s, had dreamed of being a mother since she was a girl. She would sit beside her grandmother as a child, braiding dolls and whispering imaginary names. But as month after month passed with no positive pregnancy test, her once bright eyes grew dim. And Osaro, though supportive, was beginning to grow distant under pressure from his own family. "Are you sure your wife is not the problem? Maybe she did too much family planning when she was younger. It's been 2 years now. When will we carry our own?" There was a time when Isoken cried more than she slept. Each month came with hope and ended with heartbreak. The first time her period came after she and Osaro began trying. She didn't think much of it. The second time she prayed. The third time she cried all night. And so the cycle continued month after month, until sleep became luxury, until her pillow was always damp, until her smile became something she only wore in public. Osaro would sometimes roll over in the middle of the night to find her sitting on the floor beside the bed, holding her stomach, whispering prayers through sobs. "God, even one child, just one. Let them stop pointing at me." Because the fingers had started pointing. "Let's just try this." When they finally decided to seek medical help, they visited the first private hospital in GRA, Benin. The doctor was friendly, yes, but too quick. "Let's not waste time," he said after barely 5 minutes. "Sometimes it's just stress or ovulation issues. We'll give you some fertility drugs. Let's see how your body reacts." No scans, no blood work, no sperm analysis, just Clomid for Isoken and a vague instruction to stay calm and keep trying. Isoken obeyed. For 2 months she swallowed the pills. Nothing changed. In fact, her cycle became more irregular, and she began to bloat painfully. They returned, the doctor doubled the dosage and added another drug. Still no pregnancy and no new answers. She cried herself to sleep again. Frustrated, Osaro suggested they try another hospital. This time a more advanced facility along Sapil Road. There, they ran a few surface-level tests. The nurse barely spoke to Isoken, asking her to strip for an ultrasound without explaining what they were looking for. When the results came back, the doctor glanced over the files and said, "There's a chance her tubes may be blocked. We'll start treatment immediately. Don't wait too long." Isoken was shocked. "But what did the scan show?" she asked. "We don't want to delay. Sometimes these things are best treated quickly. We'll put you on some injections and antibiotics. You'll respond in a few weeks." Again, no sperm test for Osaro. Just another round of treatments, based more on assumption than truth. After the second cycle of drugs, Isoken began spotting irregularly, and her sleep vanished again. She would sit by the window at midnight, asking herself if something was wrong with her womanhood. Every baby dedication hurt. Every time someone asked, "When are we coming to eat rice?" she forced a smile, then cried silently in the toilet later. One day, a family friend jokingly said during a visit, "Are you guys not trying? Do you want to turn Osaro to uncle instead of a father?" She laughed weakly, but that night, she cried until her nose bled. There was a season when Isoken couldn't smile anymore. Even when the sun rose beautifully, or when the rain danced softly on their roof, everything inside her felt gray. She no longer found joy in cooking. She never stopped dressing up for church, still putting her hope in God. She barely touched her phone, ignoring group chats and baby pictures people sent her as motivation. Her friends started to whisper that she was pulling away. Her mother would call and complain, "Isoken, don't let this child matter turn you into shadow. You still have your husband, your life. But how do you tell people that even breathing feels heavy when your heart is breaking slowly?" Every month, the man who refused to let her sink. Osaro noticed. He noticed the mornings when she would stay in bed till 11. The nights when her eyes were wide open till 2 a.m., staring at nothing. He saw the way she forced a smile for guests, but it vanished the moment the door closed. He wasn't the most emotional man. Osaru had been raised to hold things in, but he loved his wife deeply, and though he didn't always have the perfect words, he tried. There were nights when Osaru would gently pull her into his arms, stroke her hair and whisper, "We're in this together, Isoken. Your pain is my pain. Even if we never have a child, I'll still choose you." Sometimes, she would cry even harder, not from sadness but from feeling seen. Once, Osaru came home with a tiny baby shoe he bought from a roadside market. He gave it to her with a smile and said, "This is for hope. We'll put it on our child's foot one day." Isoken stared at the shoe and burst into tears, but then laughed through the tears. It was the first time she had truly laughed in weeks. Some evenings, Osaru would play her favorite old-school songs from the early days of their courtship, Plantation Boys and African China. He would hold her hand and twirl her clumsily in their sitting room. "Let's dance before our children start competing with us." She would giggle and fall into his chest, the sadness breaking a little more each time. When he noticed how withdrawn she had become, he started writing short love notes. He would slip them under her pillow or inside her Bible. "You're still the most beautiful woman in the world, even if your eyes are swollen from crying. I married you, not your womb, you are enough." Each note made her cry but also heal. It was a Sunday afternoon, after another long church service where the pastor had prayed for women, looking for the fruit of the womb. Isoken sat quietly at the back, blinking fast to hold in her tears. She had grown tired of these prayers, not because she didn't believe, but because every prayer came with stares, and every stare felt like a knife. After the service, as she stepped outside, adjusting her wrapper, she heard a voice behind her. "Isoken, is that you?" She turned, and there stood Rita, a former colleague from her university days, holding a chubby baby boy in her arms. Isoken's heart froze. A mix of happiness and the usual sting of, "Why not me? My God, is this your baby?" "Yes, oh. Meet my miracle. His name is Ibube." Isoken tried to keep smiling as she touched the boy's cheek. "Wow. You must be so grateful. You always said you were having issues too." Rita smiled, and her eyes softened. "Exactly why I stopped you. I remember how we used to talk. I didn't forget. You were on my heart during worship." She leaned in and whispered, "I didn't get this child from just any hospital. God used someone, Dr. S.A. of the People's Doctor Medical Center. She's a fertility expert." Isoken blinked. "Yes, she's in Benin, fertility-focused, smart, calm, no assumptions. She gets to the root. I wasted years and money in hospitals that just threw drugs at me. This woman, she studied everything before giving me a plan. 2 months later, I conceived." Isoken's lips trembled. "Are you serious?" "I'm living proof. Let me send you her Instagram, send her a DM. She replies within 48 hours. That evening, back home, Isoken couldn't even eat. She kept replaying Rita's words. Osaru noticed her silence and asked, "Still worried?" She looked at him and replied, "I met someone today, and maybe this is our next step." He sat down beside her as she showed him Rita's message and the Instagram profile at Mpiopol's doctor. They scrolled through together, post after post of glowing mothers, swelling bellies, and real-life testimonies. Isoken hesitated. Her fingers hovered above her phone screen. Osaru took her hand. "Send the message." She typed slowly. "Good evening, doctor. My name is Isoken. I was referred by Rita E. My husband and I have been trying to conceive for 2 years. We've been through 2 hospitals with no answers. We're tired, but still hopeful. Please, can you help us?" She sent it. She placed the phone beside her chest and cried silently again. But this time, the tears felt different. They carried a seed of hope. Less than 24 hours later, a message came in. Dr. S.A. responded with calm reassurance. "Thank you for reaching out, Isoken. I'm here to help." She sent Isoken pictures containing how their consultation is done and told her they would get started when she's ready. She immediately said they are ready. They sent the consultation fee and Dr. S.A. sent them the list of tests they should provide so they can get started. Osaru read it and smiled. She sounds like someone who knows what she's doing. Isoka nodded, eyes still on the screen. Maybe this is where our story turns. They carry out the test they were asked to do, and the results were sent to Dr. S.A. It had been 2 days since Isoken and Osaru sent their scanned test results to Dr. S.A. on Instagram. Isoken had been checking her DMs every hour, praying for a response that made sense. She wanted answers. She needed clarity. And then, finally, her phone buzzed at 7:46 p.m. on a Thursday evening. It was a message from Piopal's doctor. She opened it with trembling hands and read, "Hello Isoken. I've gone through all your test results thoroughly. Thank you for sending them. Based on what I see, the reason you've been struggling to conceive is due to 2 key issues. You are showing signs of PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome, your hormonal pattern, LH/FSH ratio, and irregular cycles all confirm this. Your husband's semen analysis shows low sperm count and motility. These 2 factors combined are why pregnancy has not occurred." Isoken sat down slowly, her chest rising and falling. It wasn't what she hoped for, but it was better than the silence and confusion they'd endured for 2 years. She continued reading. "The good news is both of these conditions can be treated naturally and effectively. I'm sending you a fertility support package. PCOS regulation kit for Isoken, sperm boost pack for Osaru. There's a 12-week treatment plan. Consistency and discipline are key. You'll also receive instructions for your diet, cycle tracking, and lifestyle changes." At the bottom of the message, there was a line that struck her. "Isoken, your womb is not closed. You are not barren. You simply haven't been properly treated. Let's change that now." Isoken burst into quiet tears. This time, they were tears of relief. She ran into the bedroom, where Osaru was scrolling through a football forum on his phone. "Baby," Dr. S.A. has replied. He sat up immediately. She handed him the phone. As he read through the message, his expression changed from curiosity to surprise, and finally to understanding. "So, it's both of us." "Yes," she whispered. "I have PCOS, and your count is low." Osaru nodded slowly, then said, "At least now we know. No more guessing. No more drugs thrown at us blindly." He reached for her hand. "Let's follow the treatment. Let's give it everything." Receiving the medications. By the following Monday, a package arrived from the People's Doctor Medical Center, neatly sealed and labeled. The courier handed it over with a smile. Inside the package, for Isoken, capsules, CTs, cycle regulator drops, and a meal plan to reduce insulin resistance. For Osaru, concentrated sperm boosters, zinc supplements, a smoothie recipe for testicular support, and a strict no-sugar, no-alcohol plan. Also included was a printed note. "This is a 12-week battle. Win it, watch your miracle grow." That night, Isoken organized everything on the kitchen counter like sacred treasures. She set alarms for the medications. She downloaded a period tracking app. She followed the meal plan and even switched to herbal teas she once swore she'd never drink. Osaru reduced his screen time, began walking in the evenings, and cut out beer, replacing it with smoothies and warm water. Every morning before taking their medications, they would say a simple prayer. "God, bless these hands that prepared these medicines. Use them to bless us too." And so, their healing began, not just physically but emotionally, spiritually, and as a couple. The first month after starting Dr. S.A.'s medications, Isoken and Osaru were filled with anticipation. Every small cramp, every feeling of nausea, every change in mood made Isoken hopeful. "Maybe this is it," she whispered one morning as she placed her hand on her belly. But the end of the month came, and so did her period. Red, painful, loud, like a slap in the face. Isoken locked herself in the bathroom and cried so hard she began to cough. Osaru stood at the door, his own heart sinking. "We did everything," she muttered later that night. "We followed every instruction. We prayed. We waited." "I know," Osaru said, holding her close. "But maybe it's not failure. Maybe It just needs more time. She wiped her eyes, but doubt had already entered their hearts. What if Dr. S.A. is just like the others? A week later, Dr. S.A. sent a follow-up message. Hello, Isoken. Hope you're both well. I would like to monitor your progress. Kindly redo your hormonal panel and repeat Osaro's semen analysis. Then send the results to me. Osaru was reluctant at first. What's the point? If no pregnancy, what's the use of more tests? But Isoken insisted they had come too far to stop now. They went to a trusted diagnostic lab in Benin and did everything again. A few days later, the results came in. Osaru wasn't expecting anything new. He opened the semen analysis casually, then paused. His eyes widened. Isoken, come look at this. She rushed over. There it was. His sperm count had more than doubled, from a dangerously low number to a count well within the fertile range. Motility had improved. Morphology was better. It was working. When they sent the results to Dr. S.A. on Instagram, she replied the next morning. This is excellent progress, Osaru. Your numbers have increased significantly, and you're now in a fertile zone. Isoken, once your hormones fully balance out and ovulation is regular, conception is very likely in the next few weeks. Isoken's heart fluttered. So we're close. Very close. By the 3rd month, Isoken had started sleeping better, eating healthier, and tracking her ovulation diligently. Osaru continued taking his sperm boost capsule, now with more discipline than ever before. They were less desperate this time. More surrendered, they prayed, but also joked and smiled more. And then, one morning in the 3rd month, Isoken woke up, checked her app, and gasped softly. Osaru, today makes 35 days. Since my last period, I'm late. He froze. How late? By 5 days. They had been here before, hope followed by heartbreak, so they said nothing else, just observed. By day 7, no period. Her breasts were sore. She was constantly tired. And then, she began craving bitter leaf soup, something she normally hated. She bought a pregnancy test. The next morning, she took it. 2 pink lines, clear, bold, no mistake. She screamed. Not a fearful scream, but the scream of a woman who just witnessed God keep his word. Osaru ran into the bathroom. She held up the test, eyes red with tears, voice shaking. It worked, Osaru, it worked. I'm pregnant. The following week, a bright Monday morning when Isoken walked into the radiology clinic for her first pregnancy scan, she was exactly 7 weeks and 4 days pregnant. And while she had no major issues, she wanted to be sure, really sure, that her baby was fine. Osaru held her hand tightly as they sat in the waiting area. He had barely spoken all morning, but his thumb kept rubbing over hers, a quiet sign of nervous excitement. The nurse eventually called her in. Isoken lay on the examination couch, heart pounding as the gel was rubbed across her stomach. The room was quiet except for the low hum of the machine. The sonographer adjusted the probe, squinted, and smiled. Madam, you never said there was more than one baby in here. Isoken blinked. Sorry? What do you mean? He turned the screen toward her. Look here, 1 sac, 2 heartbeats, 2 babies, you're carrying twins. Isoken's breath caught. Twins? Yes, the doctor laughed. A boy and a girl, from what we can already see. Congratulations. Isoken's eyes filled with tears. Tears that rushed out faster than she could wipe them. Me? After all these years. Osaru walked in just as she sat up, holding the scan result. Osaru, she whispered, trembling. It's twins, a boy and a girl. He stopped in his tracks. Then slowly, he knelt beside her, took the scan from her hands, and stared at it. No words, just one quiet moment between 2 people whose pain had finally been honored by heaven. Double for our waiting, he whispered. That evening, as soon as they got home, Isoken went straight to her phone. She opened Instagram, went to People's doctor, and sent a voice note with her voice shaking from joy. I don't know how to thank you. I just got back from the scan and I'm crying as I say this. It's twins. A boy and a girl, doctor. It's really twins. After everything, God used you. Thank you. May God bless you. May he multiply your hands. May he never let your oil run dry. You'll never lack, ever. Almost immediately, a voice note came back. Isoken, my God. Twins? Glory to God. I just screamed in the clinic. You see, your womb wasn't the problem. It just needed the right touch. Thank you for trusting me. I am so happy for you and Osaru. They played that voice note over and over, a reminder that what once looked impossible had now taken double shape in her womb. From that day forward, the house was filled with new laughter, gentle prayers, and tender expectations. Isoken no longer cried in the bathroom. She now rubbed her belly with both hands, smiling as she whispered to her twins. You're both welcome here. I'll protect you. Your answers, your joy, you're everything we hoped for. And every time Osaru looked at her, his eyes said the same thing. You did it, my love. After the scan confirmed the twins, a boy and a girl, Isoken's world changed. Her fears didn't vanish overnight, but she was no longer afraid of hope. Each morning she woke up with her hand on her belly, whispering, You both are my joy. Grow well, stay strong. Her bump started to show earlier than expected, and by the 4th month, she was already waddling a little when she walked. Osaru became extra protective. He wouldn't even let her lift a keg of water or bend to sweep the sitting room. You're carrying my legacy in there. Sit down, he'd say with a mock-serious face, bringing her pillows and fruits like she was royalty. They began preparing gradually, painting the nursery in pastel yellow and white, buying 2 cribs, ordering matching clothes, socks, hats, and even a tiny pair of baby shoes that said Mummy's Miracle and Daddy's Pride. When Isoken's mother heard the news, she screamed so loudly her neighbors thought something was wrong. Two children at once? My daughter, my God has answered. She danced around the house, calling relatives, shouting through the compound gate. Isoken is pregnant. Twins. Osaru's mother knelt and wept for several minutes when she was told. I have been fasting for this, she sobbed. God gave us double. Ah, what a faithful God. Family friends who once whispered behind their backs now called them testimony couple. God that answered them will answer you too. Their story became a symbol of waiting and reward, of shame turned into glory. As the pregnancy advanced, Isoken had some rough days, swollen ankles, insomnia, and lower back pain. But through it all, she never complained. After waiting for years, what's 9 months? She'd say with a smile, even while limping to the bathroom at 3 a.m. By the time she reached 36 weeks, her doctor recommended she be closely monitored due to carrying twins. She was admitted a week later, and a C-section was scheduled for week 37 to ensure both babies came safely. On a warm Tuesday morning, as the sun rose lazily over Benin City, Isoken lay on the hospital bed, dressed in a sky-blue theater gown, heart racing. Osaru was beside her, squeezing her hand gently, whispering prayers. You're about to meet them, he said, eyes misty. She was wheeled into the theater. As the spinal block set in and the doctors prepared, Isoken closed her eyes and prayed silently. God, you brought me this far. Please bring them out alive. Let me hear them cry. At 9:17 a.m., the first cry pierced the room. A boy, strong lungs. 2 minutes later, a softer cry, the girl, gentle but sure. Isoken couldn't stop crying as they brought the babies to her. These are yours, the nurse said. Your tears have become flesh. When Osaru saw them, he held his head and broke down in the corner of the room. I am a father. God, I am a father. A new life begins. They named the boy Osamudiaman, meaning God stands for me, and the girl Efmina. What I've received is more than enough. Visitors flooded their home in days to come, singing, dancing, bringing gifts, taking photos. People who once avoided eye contact with them were now eager to carry the babies and say, they look just like Isoken. One night, weeks after coming home, Osaru stood by the crib watching the twins sleep. He turned to Isoken, tears in his eyes. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for carrying our joy. Isoken leaned on him, cradling Efmina in her arms. "Now I understand why God delayed," she whispered. "He wasn't denying us. He was preparing a double portion." Motherhood changed Isoken in ways she never imagined, not just physically but emotionally, spiritually, even in how she saw the world. Before the babies came, she used to panic over every little thing. A missed period could ruin her entire month. A side glance from a relative would keep her awake for hours. But now, she was calmer, wiser, fiercely protective, and beautifully broken open by love. Even in exhaustion, even when she was still in her wrapper at 4 p.m. and both babies were crying at once, she glowed. "I cried for them," she would whisper, rocking them in her arms. "Now I'll never complain." There were moments of overwhelm. Cracked nipples, sleepless nights, swollen feet. But each time she looked down at the twins resting on her chest, she remembered her years of waiting and whispered, "Worth it." A few weeks after the babies were born, Isoken sent Dr. S.A. a message with pictures of the twins in white baby clothes, wrapped in soft blankets. She was so happy. They were so cute. "These children are heaven's proof," she said. "You're not just a mother, Isoken. You are a testimony in human form." And now, it was part of their story forever. Isoken's mother moved into their house for 3 months after the birth. Every morning, she would wake before dawn, sweep the compound, boil hot water, sing softly to herself and say, "God, I thank you again today. This house once knew silence. Now it hears laughter." Osaro's mother also visited often, proudly changing diapers and saying things like, "These ones will grow up to become president and governor. You'll see." The two grandmothers doted over the twins as if they had been born into royalty. They prepared special soups for Isoken, massaged her back with hot towels, helped her bathe, and let her rest while they took over night shifts when needed. The house was full of people, full of love, and full of joy. 3 months later, the church overflowed with people dressed in white and gold. It was the twins' dedication day. Isoken wore a stunning lace gown, and Osaro looked regal in his matching agbada. The twins wore mini white agbadas and soft satin dresses with gold trimmings. As they stood before the altar, the choir sang, "What the Lord has done for me, I cannot tell it all." Isoken's eyes welled up. When the pastor lifted each baby and prayed over them, he paused and said, "These children are not ordinary. They are signs and wonders." During the testimony segment, Isoken stepped forward, voice shaking, and said, "I waited. I cried. I almost gave up. But one message to Dr. S.A. changed everything. From PCOS and low sperm count to twins. I came here to return glory to the God who answers. If he did it for me, he'll do it for you." The whole church was in tears. Even strangers clapped and shouted. After the service, people lined up to carry the babies and pose for pictures. Some approached quietly, asking Isoken for Dr. S.A.'s contact. She smiled and gave them her Instagram handle with pride. "At People's Doctor, the woman God used to remember me." That night, when everyone was gone, and the compound was quiet again, Isoken sat by the twins' crib, watching them sleep. She reached for Osaro's hand. "Our home used to echo. Now it sings." He nodded. "Double for our delay, and joy that will never end." Barely 9 months after the birth of Osamudiaman and Efmina, Isoken started noticing some familiar symptoms. She was always tired, more than usual. Her appetite had changed again. She began craving odd combinations like pawpaw and groundnut paste. At first, she thought it was just postnatal stress. She was breastfeeding 2 children, sleeping less and managing housework. Tiredness made sense. But when her monthly cycle skipped again, and her breasts became tender just like before, a small, quiet thought whispered in her mind. "It can't be. I just had twins. It's too soon. Isn't it?" Still, curiosity got the better of her. She bought a test kit from the pharmacy, more out of routine than belief. She took it early the next morning, hands shaking, barely expecting anything. And then, 2 pink lines, clear, instant, undeniable, She stared at it for a full minute, then sat on the floor in stunned silence. God, again. That evening, after putting the twins to sleep, she called Osaru to the kitchen. There's something I need to show you. She handed him the pregnancy test, still inside the packet. He stared at it, then at her. Wait, this is what I think it is? She nodded slowly, eyes gleaming. Yes,
I'm pregnant.
again. Osaru leaned against the counter, rubbing his forehead. Then, slowly, he began to laugh, deep, warm laughter that rolled from his belly. Our enemies will choke on joy this time. He lifted her into a soft embrace, kissing her forehead. So, the issue is permanently gone. Isoka nodded. Dr. Esse said it would be. I just didn't expect it this fast. The next day, Isokan sent a message to People's doctor on Instagram, voice trembling with laughter.
Doctor S.
I don't even know how to say this, but I'm pregnant again. It hasn't even been a year since the twins. I didn't do anything extra. No stress. No treatment. God, just you. You fixed it. Within minutes, Dr. Esse replied with a voice note. Isokan. And? Another one? Ah, my hands will never run dry. Congratulations. This is what I mean when I say permanent restoration. When we address the root cause, the blessings don't stop. I'm rejoicing with you. Their mothers were stunned when they heard the news. So this is how grandchildren will just be pouring like rain? Osaru's mother teased. Let it pour. Isokan laughed. Isokan was stronger this time. The second pregnancy felt smoother, more peaceful, almost like her body now understood what it meant to carry life. She and Osaru prepared joyfully, with no fear or anxiety. Their faith had been tested, and it had bloomed. At her 12-week scan, everything looked perfect. The doctor smiled and said, Your womb is fertile ground now. It's as if nothing was ever wrong with you. Isokan smiled and whispered, There never was. We just hadn't found the right hands. As the twins began walking and talking, Isokan's belly grew again, round with another blessing. And sometimes at night, Osaru would whisper, From crying alone in the bathroom, to this house full of children, to which Isokan would reply, From silence to songs. And deep in her heart, she knew, her story was no longer one of waiting, it was one of overflow. Kindly like, share and subscribe for more amazing stories.